Hello and welcome everyone to this, the latest in our ongoing PLN sponsored digital series, Indonesia's New Energy Paradigm, brought to you by Enlit Asia and MKI. Today's episode looks at the role of distributed energy in supporting 100% electrification across Indonesia and is sponsored by Nokia. Before we begin, I hand over to our moderator and speakers for today's discussion, I have just a couple of housekeeping notes. Firstly, we'd love to hear from you during this discussion today. If you have a question for our speakers, please feel free to send it in through the Ask Staff a Question box on the right-hand side of your screens. We'll answer as many of these as possible during today's session, but apologies in advance if we don't get around to all of them. On the right-hand side also, there is a small area for a couple of downloads. Here you can find out some information about how to get involved in Enlit Asia and join us as a speaker at our physical event taking place in Jakarta from the 23rd to the 25th of March next year. Without further ado then, I'm delighted to hand over to our moderator for today's discussion, Narsing Chowdhury. Narsing is Executive Vice President and Managing Director of the Asian Power Business for Black & Veatch. Narsing, over to you. Narsing, I think you're still on mute.
Thank you, Simon. Apologies for being on mute. Today we are going to talk about PLN achieving 100% electrification through the role of distributed energy. As we all know, based on the geography of Indonesia, there are thousands of islands, and PLN has been striving hard to ensure that they are able to provide electricity for every Indonesian. And this is not easy, considering almost 90.98% of the islands are connected to the grid, and the rest of the grids, it's very difficult based on the geography. So I have a couple of my eminent panelists today, but before we introduce, I just wanted to give a short overview of what Black & Veatch does. So if somebody can put the presentation. Yeah. So just to give you an overview of what Black & Veatch is. Black & Veatch is engineering and service EPC provider across the globe. We have been in the region for more than 50 years. Helping build the electrification and the grid network not only in the whole of Asia, but predominantly in Indonesia. Right now, as we speak, we have close to 4.3 gigawatt of various power plants being built in various stages, and we are engaged on maybe another 2 gigawatt of power plants where we are providing owners, engineers, or engineering services on those projects. While on this topic, I just wanted to give you an overview of how we are structured. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah. So under power, we have four different business lines. Conventional generation, where we do fossil power, basically gas, coal, or nuclear. Then we have renewables, under which we take care of anything which is non-fossil, battery energy storage, solar, wind, and then using this power, whatever is there, to transmit and have the last mile distribution. Under distributed energy is a whole suite of operation, which includes microgrids and various kind of solutions, where it makes sense to have smaller distributed energy than having large power plants. And there's backed by decades of experience of Black & Veatch working globally, and we have a huge setup. Can we go to the next slide? Yeah. So as you can see here, Asia has been served for various years, and we have a huge setup in the region. If we just look at the couple of countries that you see here on the screen: China, Thailand, Singapore, Indonesia, and India, where bulk of our resources are located. We have more than 1,000+ resources working on various kind of power generation and distribution needs for the region. And Jakarta is a major hub for us for executing many of these projects. And Hong Kong and Singapore, this serve as our infrastructure hub for supporting our water business. Yeah, next slide. lot of projects in the region. As you can see, the red dots are the one where we are doing EPC, which is a lump sum turnkey. The yellow ones, a lot of owners, engineer, some substation. We are very active in oil and gas, renewable and water. One thing which I wanted to share on my own personal side, I've been in the power industry for now more than 26 years. And throughout this journey, what has excited me most is when we look at the joy that you bring on people's faces when you're bringing those electricity and infrastructure to utilities and industry in the remotest part of the various regions. And Indonesia, as I said, has this ambition of providing electricity to its remotest place, and how some of this is being done by PLN, including various other organizations, private organizations, would be the theme of the discussions that we have today. Next slide. So that's I wanted to keep it short and sweet. This is my, if you can go to the previous slide, that's my contact detail. If you all have any questions or any other details that you'd like to have discussion, you can reach out to me later on. So with that, let me jump straight into the panel discussion. I would like to introduce our eminent panelists here. Bob Saril, he is the Director of Commerce and Customer Management with PT PLN and has won various awards for his great contribution to CSR and sustainability. The latest one being the Indonesia Green Award. He is a champion of renewable energy, and Bob Saril holds a master's degree in engineering from University Sriwijaya. I also have with me Pak Kres. Pak Kres is the head of Research and Development Center for Electricity, New Energy, Renewable Energy Conservation Technology within Agency for the Research and Development of Energy and Mineral Resources. He holds a master's in engineering with major in electrical and has been extremely engaged on various research and planning responsibilities. He has also under his belt various research papers which has been published. I have Martin Hosk. He is leading Nokia Enterprise for Energy in Asia Pacific, supporting the communication analytics for industries and utilities. Martin holds more than 20 years of experience in the industry and is a master's degree holder specializing in industrial engineering from the University of Karlsruhe. Last but not least, Ibu Maya. She is a collaboration and networking lead for Mentari program, which is a consortium of Palladium, Castle Rock Consulting, Hives and ECA. She was earlier the program manager for green energy for HIVOS Southeast Asia. She holds a postgraduate program department for social welfare, Faculty of Social and Political Studies from University of Indonesia. So with that, I would maybe hand it over to Bob Saril to give us some overview of how PLN is handling the distributed energy solutions across the region. Bob Saril, over to you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much, Pak Narsings. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity to explain or to describe about PLN achieving 100% the role of a distributed energy. So as we see from the video previously depicted, we see that we have the expiration in 2024. We are going to be #1 in the Southeast Asia, the customer choice. So from that one, so we see that we are having 4 strategic pillars. One of the thing is green. This is the one that we are fostering for achieving 100% in the electrification ratio. Next, please. Next slide, please. As we see, next, please. This is only about our company at a glance. Then we have now 69 or until almost 70 to the gigawatts of the generation, and then we have a long transmission line stretching from all over the land, and then that is consisting about more than 56,000 kilometers, and then we have distribution, and also the employee nowadays we have about more than 53,000. Continue, please. This is only the most important thing. The second thing I would like to say is we see the situation in Indonesia, and as we have already known together that Indonesia is consisting of thousands of islands, and beside that, this in the island itself, the contours and also the geography is a very variety of the things. Something mountainous area, and then hilltop, and then so on. It's but we see more, and we look at the eastern part of Indonesia. So this is the way, this is the place that we see a lot of islands is there. And then, for example, one of the province like the Nusa Tenggara Timur, the East Nusa Tenggara, Nusa Tenggara, we see about only reaching 86.13% of the electrification ratio. We can see that because this area is has many islands, a small one, and then it's very difficult for us to bring the grid into this island, because sometimes we see, because this is the area of the line is from one area into the other line, and the sea is we have a long deep sea, and then it is very difficult to stretch the line. And then also in Malacca, we see we reach 91.72%. And then in Papua, even though the Papua in the land, as we see, the situation is quite different from the other parts of the Indonesia, because the area is very dispersed. So not the people is living a very dispersed area in stretching from from the east to the west. So it is very difficult to reach out there. And then, but even though, despite of this situation, we have actually in Indonesia striving good in the accomplishment of reaching the electrification ratio. As we see from 2014, our electrification ratio is only 84.35%, but within 6 years, we have reached to 99.09. So in only 6 years, we have already reached more than 50% of reaching our electrification. We see that how we can reach 100%, it's again getting more difficult and more difficult, but we have a solution on this. Come on, the next, please. Next, please. Next slide. Yeah, we have a strategic roadmap in order to reach or to accomplish, to achieve 100%. So the first one, we like to expand our existing distribution line. If there is a grid there, a small distribution grid or any grid, then we can exist that. We still have that one too. And then even though the contours of the land is very much varied, we try. And then we have this one to reach that one. But in the isolated area, in a very remote area, in the island, small island, we prefer to use the second way of doing so. How do we get it? Again, we build a kind of small microgrid or mini grid there. It's consisting of the distribution line and also the power generator. But the power generator, previously we used diesel, but nowadays steam, that it is quite impossible. It's not only for the investment itself, but for the operation and maintenance, because this the remote area and very long from the what we call from the source of the oil, and it is very hard to transport to the S area. So that we develop how that we can move to the green power generator, like say biomass, and then we use also the PV, photovoltaic, and micro hydro and PV hybrid. How that we choose about these four sources? We see from the engineers or in situ what is the best for that one. Sometimes if the island is big and a lot of the biomass there, we would like to develop biomass. But sometimes we also face or meet the small the small water run through, and then we use the microhydro. But mostly we have the PP Comula and PP hybrid. And we see that how that we can reach that. This is some of the example in our roadmap that we are going to reach for this year, about 3,591 villages, and then it will cover about more than 400,000 customers. And then we divided again how we reach that one. We use our own investment, and then we use the government's capital, and also we use the government capital in 2002, in 2020, and also we have another government's capital in 2021. And then some of them hasn't been allocated in the budget, but we are going to try to have it for running this year. And then below we can see the pictures that the ones that we have already developed for connecting or serving to the customers. For example, though we have the Mine Hydro, and then for the Andong Biru in Probolinggo, it is a very remote area in the up to hill, but we found that there is a water running, and then we put the micro hydro there. But in the Pangkep, in the islands like Saugi Island, we put the PV, and also in the Nusa Tenggara Timur we put PP2, and then here in Manokwari, because we are very difficult to find the biggest line. So what we think is that we still use the PV, but the PV is put in the distributed things. We put each of the PV in a pole, So this is one of the things that we use in order to alleviate the problems of the land. And the other ones, we use also the biomass for the Karimun in the Riau Islands. So these are the examples that we developed in the grid for the system. But another things that we have already developed is energy storage. We call it as the energy storage box. What is it about the energy storage box? It is a kind of a battery, a small battery in a box, and then this box is put in the home. The home consisting of the DC installation. So every time they are charging and discharging by using this energy storage box, and then if it is already decreased, and then they come to we call it charging station, and then the charging station we use the VV, and then we charge the battery and put back again to the customers. This is what we call the energy storage box. We call in Indonesia as talis or tabung listrik. Next, please. Next, please. This is the potential energy map, and then you can read it by your own. And come on, next. I want to because the time is very limited. Next. Now, this is about the example. How many villages that we can supply? How many villages we can cover? So about that one, we have the Palis one. We can cover more than 6,000 households. It covers about in the 24 villages. And then for the government capital, we built a kind of line stretching for the existing bridge to the village. We can cover more than 70,000, 75,000. And then this is also what is the charity programs. We have also the charity programs from the private sector. This is only for the home that is used the problem in the investing to connection to the PLN. So we put the charity and to help the poor people. And then we also use our own what we call social corporate responsibility in order to put or to give some of the charity to the poor people. And then we have also reached the other one through our marketing, and then it means that this is the existing that they happen what we call the ability to connect to PLN, and then we can put or connect to them. So by this year's we are sure that in the Q4 and the fourth quarters we can add more than 800,000. So we can see from this slide we have already used some of the things that I mentioned just now. It's about how much the village we put it for the grid extension, and how much that we cover from the mini grid like a PLTS communal. And the other things that I would like to mention here is that besides in the small grid, we also, next please, I would also want to put the idea about the energy storage system. So this is a kind of our new innovative ways in order to tackle the problems of the dispersed area or distributed, very dispersed customers in one area. So the first one, we use this is energy storage in the box, and also we put a PV as the charging station. Hopefully, in the area like in Papua or in the other parts of the small island, which the dispersed communal things stay there, we can put this kind of tallies. And then the other we want to mention, next please. Next, okay. This is it's very the things that I would like to insist here to emphasize about the control system. So we can also, with a small microgrid, to have the control system. What is the function of this control system? In order that the function of the system itself can run well as we expected. So here we have already some of the pilot in the PLTS Semau Island. We use the PV, but this PV, besides having the inverter itself and then the bidirectional inverter, we put the hybrid control system. So what's the function of the hybrid control system itself? Is to set the operation pattern of the PV and diesel generator to adjust PVs and load demand. As we see, we still put a small diesel generator there. Why? Because sometimes if the battery is out of run and we still want to operate the diesel generator to charge the battery. But sometimes the problem in making balance between diesel generators and the PV is not like easy to handle. So that's why we use the hybrid control system in order that we can run smoothly, because if there is a kind of the cloud there and then the charging is very low and the diesel generator is up and then it is driving, but the transition is very smooth by using the hybrid control system. And next please. This is the example that how the generation profile that we use. If you see about, there are three things. The green one is the PV and battery, and then the other one is the genset. This is generator set 1 and the generator set 2. So this is the peaker one is handled by the genset number 2, and then the what we call during the night we use the genset, the generator set for the running sometimes, and then if they're running this one in order to alleviate the problems of the transition, we use the hybrid control system. That's all that I can tell today. Then we are still moving on this one, and then hopefully that we can keep on going with another innovative way in order to supply or to serve the customers in the area of the isolated and very remote. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nasing. I come back to you.
Thank you, Professor El, and sharing your very innovative concept of providing power to the remotest part of Indonesia. Next, let me invite Pak Chris to share his views on how to handle this distributed energy in solving lost problems.
Thank you, Nasing. First of all, I would like to thanks for the committee for inviting me to be one of the speakers in the important and prestigious event. So I will try to start my thought regarding the distributed energy, choosing fitted energy sources. Next, please. Just next. So even though, next, please. So even though it is already explained by you, Nasing and Mr. Bob, but I will try to show you the big picture, how is the distributed energy system is very needed to be developed in Indonesia. If you look at this slide, you can see that Indonesia actually the largest archipelago countries in the world. You can see the numbers of the island actually 70,000, but the number to small island is around 60,855. If you look at more deeply, comparing the very small island, their number is 60,852. Very small island means that the area space is less than 100 kilometer per square. And then this is spread all through the Indonesia, and it's very difficult if we are trying to electrify the people who live in those area with the existed or expanded electricity grid. So this is the one reason why distributed energy system is very needed to be implemented in order to electrify people in those small area. Next, please. Even though it is already explained by Pak Bob, I will try to make some emphasize. The electrification rate already achieved higher than 5 years ago. But the problem now, in order to fulfill 100%, the geographical condition is more challenging now. Most likely, if you look at, still some communities have not yet benefited electricity. Most likely they are living in undeveloped or frontier or autonomous area, which is the area is very challenging and very difficult to try to electrify the people. And the other one, if you look at the rural electrification ratio, there are currently 433 villages in Indonesia that not suffering the electricity. Most likely they're located in the eastern region. As Pak Bob said, the contour of the land is sometimes mountainous, hills, very difficult. So this is the reason why distributed energy system is a good option to electrify those people. Next, please. I will try to give some picture how the challenges energy system development in small island. One is the energy demand is low. It is because the people who living is there just a very few number, less than 100 or less than 50 people. And the other one is insufficient and adequate electricity network. And the third one, electricity source are most likely diesel-based power plant. Thanks to Bob, they are now trying to try to stop the diesel and change to the another renewable energy. And since some of these islands still using the diesel power plant, then the energy price are considerably costly. And then most likely the electricity operating hours are less than 24 hours. It is because operation to diesel power plant of the OEM is very high. Then in order to keep maintaining the operation of this diesel, then they're trying to just limit it operating hours of the power plant. Next, please. The good things is Indonesia is a blessing country. We have an abundance of renewable energy potential. If you look at in this map, actually my center provided this map. This year, we also trying to updating this kind of the map of the potential of renewable energy in Indonesia. You can see in the green dot is meaning that the crude oil plant. And then if you look at light and dark brown is potential of micro hydro. And then the light blue and dark blue is showing the solar irradiation, and the pink and red showing wind speed. If you look at actually for the micro hydro potential, there is a lot of potential in the east, middle, southeast, and north Kalimantan, Aceh, west, north Sumatra, east, and mid Java. And considering of the solar potential, the location is West Kalimantan, South Sumatra, East Kalimantan, North Sumatra, and East Java. While in the wind potential, with the wind speed above 6 meters per second, located in West Nusa Tenggara, West Java, East Nusa Tenggara, West Java, South Sulawesi, Maluku, and East Java. Next, please. So when we're trying to choose what the fitted energy source, we need to do understanding about the population, the condition of the area. If the village is far from the PLN electricity network, and but the people living centralized, then off-grid, mini-grid is one of the option. But if the village is far from the PLN electricity network and the population is scattered, then individual system or standalone using the solar home system is one of the option. But we need to keep in our mind, we need to, the providing electricity to the people is not just merely or solely for the electricity or for the lightning. We need to set up the minimum needs of electricity consumption. Based on our assessment, at least for the electricity in treaty area, we need to provide 307 watt-hour per day in order the electricity for the people, not for the lighting, but they can do some productive activities. Next, please. This is what that we are trying to doing in our study. There are three types of the scheme that we can supplying electricity to the people. One is we can do with the rooftop solar PV off grid. Of course, the implementation, there is advantages and disadvantages. You can see in the screen the implementation of the rooftop solar. It is suitable for unreached areas from the PLN's grid where the communities are living and centralized as scattered area. The other one is communal, already explained by Bob. It is suitable to be implemented when the area is far from PLN, but the communities are living in the same area. The other one that we have proposed, Bob already mentioning, Thalys battery tube. In our center, we are trying now develop backpack battery. Why we develop this kind of backpack battery? Because it is most available in remote areas with limited access, minimizing the chance of electricity snatching, and then it's very suitable for electrified people living in scatter. Next. Next, please. This is actually our concept, my center concept. We are not trying to making the prototype of this kind of the backpack factory because the condition of the potential of renewable energy, and then we know the minimum limits of the energy consumption of the people. So we are trying to make a backpack factory with the capacity around 2,200 megawatt hour or equal to 220 watt-hour in order to give minimum consumption per day for the people is 307. The battery, backpack battery can be used 7 days. Charging period is 10 hours. It's very light. There is a wheel. You can pull it or you can use it in your shoulder. The total weight is around 10-12 kg. The unit cost at the moment is 11,600 rupiah or around 0.78 US dollar per watt hour. Next. Next. This is the concept. So if the road condition in some villages is very good, you can try to put it, the backpack battery going to your home or charging station. But if the road condition is very bad, you're just using the wearing this backpack battery to go to the charging station or inland cluster. We are trying to set up the battery last time 7 days. It is because we are trying to avoid the often people to come to the charging station. So we are set up the 1 week or 7 days just to meet with the people to go to the market for daily needs. So while they are going to the market for the what you call buying some daily needs, they also can try to charging station or swap battery or charging. So while we are set up the backpack battery hours is for 7 days. Next, please. Next, please. This is actually the concept, business flow and funding source. So in the household, there is an investment, initial investment, backpack battery. It can be provided by the APBN, state budget. And actually the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources already secure some funding for what you call provided this kind of the electricity battery tube in next year. And then there is also battery charging station in here. Initial investment, it can be provided by the private or state enterprises or state budget or through the state budget. And then to operate this kind of battery charger, it can be by private, local enterprise or rural enterprise. Same with the power generation, it can be developed by private, state enterprises, or we are using the state budget. And then the operation of the power generation, it can be given to the private or local enterprise or rural enterprise. Next. Through our study, actually, we already assess the cost of the energy. The assumption in here is one village with 100 households. One household, the consumption of the energy is 307 watt-hour per day. You can see here. The cheapest one is the backpack battery lithium with the hydropower generation. It is around 7,471 rupiah, or around 0.50 US dollar per watt hour. And then the expensive one is a back battery with lithium with centralized source of solar power generation, around 17,640 rupiah per watt hour, or 1.21 US dollar per watt hour. Next. Next, please. So this is the conclusion. So the idea of developing distributed energy system, it is appropriate for Indonesia, considering the geographical, especially to electrify the people living in undeveloped frontier and autonomous areas. And then any future energy source which are available to be developed at the distributed energy system, we should take a note that the electricity demand for communities are not only for lighting purposes, but it also aims to improve the other productive activities. And then the concept of implementing mobile battery to backpack battery is a great option to support the electricity supply. Although the main component mobile battery are still costly and imported, its implementation progress will be centrally create a huge market for batteries, which is to trigger a large investment, especially those in local lithium battery manufactured in Indonesia. And then we expected in the future goal, this economic linkage shall reduce the battery price in the market. So that's all my presentation. Thank you for your attention, and I will give it back to you, Nasik. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Chris. And of course, there are a lot of questions flowing in. So let's get through the presentation, and then we'll address those questions to you and Pak Bob. Let me invite Martin now to give an overview of what Nokia is doing in the region in terms of distributed energy solutions. Martin, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nasik, and again, appreciate the opportunity to present and with such esteemed panelists as Pak Bob and Pak Chris. Obviously, Nokia has got the standard capabilities. We are providing communication solutions, the backbone of systems. Like in Australia, 7 out of 10 utilities are using our backbone. Also, here in the region, we have strong footprint. Today I want to focus, considering the topic, distributed generation. And you might wonder, why distributed generation for Nokia? What is Nokia doing in this space? If you think about Nokia is very familiar with large telco networks, mobile networks with millions of devices. So we are very familiar in managing those networks efficiently. And I'll give an example here in this presentation. Next slide, please. The solution that we are looking at is a revolutionary generator, which is, as we discussed previously, typical diesel generators are bulky and have very high maintenance cost, frequent maintenance every 250 hours. This new generator has 2,000 plus hours of maintenance. It can complement the battery pack that we just discussed earlier, because it's only 10.5 kilogram for the actual engine. So this allows for easy transport in remote regions. And as I mentioned, Nokia's strength and Nokia's contribution to this whole piece is the remote monitoring and management. We are managing, for example, the mobile phone network in Australia of Vodafone. So this is exactly our experience. So the summary of solution is lower cost, higher reliability, and in particular for mission critical networks, ability to sign SLAs. Next slide, please. How does it work? It is a linear engine. So this has been under discussion for a long time. They were the first ones to make it work, and already LPG is possible. They're looking also at hydrogen, so it can complement some of the previous partners. The very low cost, the targets are very aggressive. Next slide, please. This is the comparison why the prices are very competitive, but also reliability is high. If you look at traditional engines on the left, so many moving parts, you need oil. With this one, we don't need oil, and we only need the fuel and very high efficiency while being very light. Next slide, please. And if we want to go for a village kind of solution, then we would do like a stack of generators coming much smaller, much more easy to transport on boats. For example, what we saw in Philippines, some of the islands, and I'm sure, Chris, you have probably done the survey, they may not even have a port. It's very hard to land heavy generators if you don't have a well-established port. Next slide, please. The summary in particular for the solution, leverage cost of energy is very low thanks to initial capex savings and significant opex savings, while at the same time, and you highlighted that earlier, that if power is not available, people cannot use internet. And in today's world with COVID-19, communication has become all the more important. And I would see, for example, banking running via mobile phones. Then, and Nokia providing the remote management so we can actually sign up for service levels. Next. These are comparisons to traditional diesel generators. This is the current level. Gasoline or LPG, as I mentioned, hydrogen is under development. Biogas should also be possible. And today, with today's version, we can already get under 50 cents per kilowatt. The design, though, is designed for have solar storage and the battery being charged by the generator. So complementing the previously discussed systems. Next slide, please. This is a summary what Nokia offers. We have got the monitoring and the management. So this is not the full scope of a full microgrid like what Schneider or Siemens would offer, but it has got the basic functionality, and in particular security is also available. As I mentioned, Nokia is managing 1.5 billion devices, so we know a few things about device management. Thanks to the remote monitoring and our analytics, we can also assure that the generator is very reliable. So if there's any performance degradation, we can monitor it remotely and then schedule maintenance. The next slide, please. This concept can obviously be extended. I talked about this case as an example, but we were more than happy to complement some of our other partners here on the call. Be it for virtual power plants, be it for microgrids or renewables, where we already have Ørsted and ERDF for the wind farms. How can we monitor those assets and then help with the data collection and the analytics? So this enables more efficient operation, more reliable supply of power. Next slide, please. Excuse me, it's a bit tight schedule. Skip this one, please. What are next steps? We are looking for pilots. This is still leading edge. Starting with a lab pilot and then with an extended pilot outdoors, and then finally deploying and verifying some of those claims that we have currently, some of those performance indicators, KPIs, to ensure that we actually can achieve the business value. We have had previously Bob discussions with PLN distribution team who mentioned, for example, that some of the critical control systems of PLN sometimes are down because the mobile phone network is down. So if you have that kind of scenario, I would probably start with the most important mission critical, but looking at the future improvements in efficiency and cost, we can become very competitive to complement the backpack for those remote places, in particular for mobility. That's it from my side. Thank you very much for your kind attention. And we have got on the team the local AV, Pak AV is on the call, and Pak Santos. So we have got a team in Indonesia and in ASEAN who are looking to support you with this. Thank you very much for your kind attention. And back to you, Pak Nasim.
Thank you, Martin, for the innovative concept. I mean, a linear generator for the first time, so that's great. Ibu Maya, if you can give us, I saw the topic that you chosen, the Sumba Iconic Island, and it's a very interesting concept. So I'm sure the audience will enjoy your experience that you share. Over to you.
Yes, please. Can you hear me now, Nursing?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Truly appreciate this wonderful opportunity to share the experience and the lesson learned of HIFO's work, especially in doing the decentralized renewable energy. Oh yeah, I'm Maya from HIFO Southeast Asia. Next, please. So a bit of a background about HIFOS. HIFOS was founded in 1960. HIFOS was founded in 1968 by the Humanist Association back in the Netherlands. In Indonesia, HIFOS Southeast Asia has been operating since 2005 in cooperation with the Ministry of Social Affairs. HIFOS in Southeast Asia develops relevant programs and ensuring that these programs are properly implemented and managed. In the renewable energy sector in the country, HIFOS most well-known programs are Sumba Iconic Island Program and the Indonesia Domestic Biogas Program, or famously known as BIRU, the Biogas Rumah. Next, please. So about Sumba Iconic Island program. So this program has started since 2011 based on the studies conducted by HIFOS and KEMA back then. So the ultimate dream of this program is to utilize the maximum potential of the island from the renewable energy potential of the island. Hopefully, this dream can be achieved by 2025. Next, please. So in this program, HIFOS actually is not alone. Yes, we do initiate the program, but the program is currently already being led and adopted by the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources with the issuance of the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources decree in 2015. So there are so many stakeholders involved in this program. PLN is one of the key and most important stakeholders in this program also. And this program is using a multi-stakeholder approach. So everyone contributing, not only the resource, not only the fund or financial resources, but also direct project implementation, studies, technical assistance, research, capacity building programs, and supporting for the holding various coordination meetings and plenary or many other important meetings of the program. And in this program, HIFOS has two prominent role, not only as HIFOS as being the delivered direct project implementation on the island, but HIFOS is also supporting the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources in running the national secretariat of this program. Next. So this is HIFOS work in rural energy access. So basically, in delivering HIFOS work for decentralized renewable energy, our four basic main principles are that it is not only an access to energy, but the energy that resulted should lead to a productive use of energy. So in regards to deliver that, we need to ensure that we are also empowering the local institution or the local community as the main beneficiaries. And in doing delivery of the project, HIFOS is always working hand in hand with relevant stakeholders. And the last but not least is we always ensure that gender and inclusion is always mainstream in our project delivery. Next. So these are the projects that we are developing. Currently, all these projects are, most of these projects are located on Sumba Island, but especially for the Indonesia Domestic Biogas Program, it is spread across the 14 provinces of Indonesia. So for PV schools, it currently runs in 35 schools spread around Sumba Island. You can see the total installed capacity from the 35 schools. The next is, this is special because this energy kiosk we started back in 2016. Back then, there were only 30 households who is working with us, and now it has evolved up to 42 households. These solar lanterns has been providing light to around 2,600 households. The next in the list is solar PV for agro processing production. It serves, it currently serves for around 40 users around the island. And this machine that you can see here, it is for the corn milling and for the what you call it, for the rice, yeah, something like that. And for the domestic biogas program, which we run in 14 provinces in Indonesia, it is now the number has reached almost 25,000 units, and with a total beneficiaries of more than 100,000 households. And last but not least is the PAYGO system. These PAYGO units, it currently serves around 38 households on the island, on Sumba Island. Next. Yeah, so these are the various forms of the renewable energy management models that is currently taking place on the island. A bit of information that actually not only HIFOS who has this type of business model. So these are the three main business model that is currently running on the island, and it varies from HIFOS projects, also coming from the other project implemented by other stakeholders. Next. Yeah, next please. Okay, so I will not highlight regarding the how do we run the business with each of these types, but I will elaborate more or introduce more on the various strengths and weaknesses in comparison with the existing renewable energy management models on the islands. So as you can see that cooperatives is the strength points from the cooperatives that it is already an existing legal entity. So being a legal entity, it will make the process of business arrangement a lot more easier. Also, if in the future it has the potential cooperation with local PLN. Cooperatives also has the plus points because they already have existing entrepreneurial skills, which that if we equip with a bit or a lot more capacity building programs, depending on the size or the type of the programs, it will eventually lead to a good activity of productive use of energy. And these cooperatives also has another benefits that being a cooperatives will automatically link them to the various support that could be coming from the government. It may come from the Ministry of Cooperatives, or it may also come from the local technical office, the local dinas, be it in the provincial office or in the district office. They can be supported with financial support, various financial support from these institutions, or with also with various capacity building program. What you can see on the screen is one of the example of the cooperatives. Actually, this is Kooperasi. The name is Kooperasi Kamanggi, located in Isumba. With the support of HIFOS back in 2011, we worked with cooperatives back then and built this micro hydropower plant. And only after 2 years of its operation, and finally PLN see the potential of making it interconnected to PLN grid. So 2 years after its commissioning, PLN has the cooperation agreement with the cooperatives, and it is still ongoing until now. And the weaknesses points from these types is that we all know that cooperatives is lacking for the internal capacity, especially regarding to technical and their limited knowledge regarding the renewable energy technology. So it needs a proper capacity building program, both technical and non-technical, which we have to deliver based on the thorough and comprehensive lifescape and landscape assessment in project implementation. Next. So the next type on the list is the BUMDES, or the village-owned enterprise. Basically, the strength points of this type is mostly the same with the cooperatives, and also for the weaknesses points. And the good thing about these working with BUMDES is that BUMDES actually already a legal entity. So as a legal entity, they can do a business arrangement, they can have a cooperation agreement. And with BUMDES, working with BUMDES means we can also work on the additional support that we might not be able to deliver as a whole to this village. In addition, they can get this type of support coming from the related governments, for example, from the Ministry of Village in terms of funding or technical assistance, and even from the provincial or regional offices. Next, please. And this is special. This is the last type of renewable energy management model that is currently taking place on the island. So HIFOS initiated the establishment of renewable energy services company back in 2016, and since 2017 it is fully running as a private entity. So the plus points of having RESCO on the island, that these local young staff is actually very local people. We train them with solar PV and electricity skill. So by having these local people, we ensure that the knowledge should stay on the island, and that anyone working with them, especially for the community, they don't have to search for other sources outside the island, because if you see from so many other public projects, the most ironic thing is that once they fail, the community cannot get support, or they cannot get a repairing system from inside the island. They must wait or pay a very expensive in order to get the system repaired, or in order to mobilize spare parts from other parts of the country. So by having this company on the island, it really can support the local ecosystem of the existing off-grid projects that's already up and running on the island. Currently, RESCO is providing service for the operation and maintenance, and also has a business model for lease to own units. And also another strength points of this type is that RESCO could be the service utility partners for the local PLN. While the minus points of RESCO is that since it is a private entity, so the sustainability of RESCO business models really depends on their own ability for doing the business development. Because RESCO will only be sustainable if they are able for getting more or partnering with more projects and businesses. Next, please.
Ibu Maya, if I can request in the interest of time that we leave some time for Q&A, if that's okay.
Can I still proceed, nursing?
Yes, but can I ask you to maybe wrap up so that we can have some time for Q&As?
Okay, yeah, I'll be quick. Okay, thank you. These are what you see now is these are the location of RESCO project areas, and you can see that this is almost 150 village, servicing more than 5,000 households. Next, please. Yeah, this is important lesson learned that we get from delivering various off-grid project implementation of the island is that not only you need to deliver or ensuring that you do your physical project implementation, but you also need to ensure that you equip it with the proper capacity building program, and you need to really assess on the socio-economic landscape of the community. Actually, this is not only about willingness to pay and affordability to pay, but beyond that, you should see the potential of the how you create the demand, how you stimulate the demand by providing the productive use of energy. And then you need to really engage with the local leadership, and you need to ensure that you get full support from the community. Next is actually there is no one size fits all. Sorry, back to the previous screen. Yeah. We cannot say that for this type you have to do all with BUMDES, or you have to do all with cooperatives, all with RESCO, because it really depends on the community, and it really depends on the result of your full and comprehensive assessment. So the business model should be very adaptive. And in addition to the working with the local community, the local leadership and local stakeholders, the most important thing is we need to work also closely with PLN, because PLN needs to be engaged right from the very beginning of your implementation. And then when doing this business arrangement with the community, be it with cooperatives or with BUMDES, make sure that all you do is under legal framework, and then the business arrangement needs to be transparent and accountable. Next slide.
Ibu Maya, can we wrap it up?
Yes. Oh yeah. Based on the lesson learned that we do on the island, actually we have this study together with Climate Policy Initiative, identifying innovative business models for decentralized renewable energy investment. And the full study actually is accessible at the Climate Policy Initiative's website. Next. And yeah, this is what we aim next, to make sure that for the supply, there is a regulatory framework that is workable and most suitable. And currently, this work, it is what HIFOS work based on our experiences and lessons learned. This is currently supported under Mentari program, the program of UK Indonesia Low Carbon Energy Partnership. And then we need to always ensure that there is we can stimulate the demand. And then it is very important that gender and inclusion is always mainstream in your activity. And last but not least is replicate this concept on the other parts of the country in collaboration with other stakeholders. I think that will be all, Narsing.
Thank you, Ibu Maya. Really interesting, and we appreciate you sharing this.
Can you see? This is, oh yeah, okay. Yeah. Thank you, Narsing.
Thank you. For all the people who are on the call today, we have maybe a couple of two questions where we would like to do some polling. And these are around what are availability requirements for mission critical networks like SCADA, and is security critical? So Ashley, I'll pass on to you for starting the polling. So while the polling is going on, there are a lot of questions which has come from the audience panelists, and what I would do is maybe some of the questions I will ask very specifically because those have been asked by the audience that we have here, and some of them could be open to all of you. So feel free to jump in if it's an open question, but some of them I might address to specifically based on the questions from the audience. I find the backpack model that you all have is very interesting, and there are a lot of questions coming on the backpack model. So be prepared to address some of those questions which are there. Good. So let's come back to the questions that we have. The first question goes to Pakres. With more than 99% covered area, how does PLN maintain the quality of the electricity supply, especially for the microgrid which is located in remote area, since the effort to reach the location is bigger than the maintenance itself? Pakres, that question was for you. You're muted. Sorry, could you repeat it again, Narsing? Yeah, the question, I can summarize it in a shorter form. I mean, with 99% electrification already done, for the remaining part that you all are doing, how do you maintain the quality of the electricity grid, whatever microgrid you can call it, considering the system itself is not difficult to maintain, but reaching those islands is very difficult?
Yes, that's why we have provided the backpack battery. It is very easily compact, but to support continuously the backpack battery, we need to establish the electricity charging station. And besides on that, we need also to provide or establish a power plant. The type of the power plant, which is that I'm presenting to you, the most economically is if micro hydro. So of course, not all the island or the treaty island having potential of hydro. So the other option is using the PV solar. So how we are doing? There is no transmission. There is no network. You just coming up to the electric station, just change with the new one. In our simulation, with 100 household, we provide 20% as a backup for the battery. So the people just coming to the city charging station, they just trying to charge or swap this backpack battery with the new one, and within 7 days, regularly they are coming to the what you call charging station. And in order to maintaining the continuously of this backpack battery, we need support. We need to establish the local people, because who is the operate the charging station and then the operation of the power plant. We need some enterprises. It can be doing with the local people, which is already explained with Bumaya. It's very interesting. They have what you call the rescue. So the most important when we are trying to develop electricity to the local community, we need to also ensure the continuation of this process. Meaning that we need to supporting the local government who will trying to handling operation maintenance of the power plant, electric charging station, and backpack itself when they are broken, which will be repairing. We need to also divide those issues.
Thank you, Pak Chris. Let me ask a question to Pak Bob, considering the connections in the remotest villages is commercially not that viable. How does PLN handle it? As I mean, it's not profitable for sure, because it's few villages and the power that you sell. How does PLN ensure that, because you have this slogan of 100% power electrification, how does PLN handle it from a commercial aspect? And if I can add one more question to that, what is the biggest concern that you see when you deploy this distributed energy infrastructure?
Okay, thank you. The first question is about the commercial viability or the commercial perspective in the PLN. So in talking about this, the commercials, we don't really look at this, because PLN is one of the state-owned company, and the functions of this state-owned company is to be the agents of the development. And from the agent developments that we want to electrify the remote area, the outermost, and then the other area that is very much to be what we call to be connected to the grid. So we don't really see about whether it is viability commercial or not, but other than we see it as PLN as the agents of the development, and we have to do it. And anyway, because of the business models of the PLN itself is about that the cost, it will be the cost incurred will be covered by the government plus for 7% or something for the I think for the profit. Seeing from that one, there will be no problem in the seeing of that one. And the second question is about how we see about the problems. The first of all actually is to find the appropriate technology that is very suitable to that place in terms about the energy resources itself. But next come, as Pak Chris already mentioned just now, is about how later on we can keep on going or continuously operate or serve to the customers. So we have the experience like this when we put our VV, the communal one, we also put this is the control system. To control system consisting of the monitoring, let's say it's SCADA, mini SCADA on that one is a supervisory control and data acquisition. So we put some of the probe there and then find out how that we can monitor of the functionality of the component there. And also we put some of the probing to the line also to see whether this line is already off, and then we see about how the battery is already charged and so on. So this is one way of doing so. And then the other problems that we say with if we put the control system or the SCADA system is that we come again encounter the difficulties about the communication. So, but luckily nowadays some of the operators in the telecommunication already put the communication system in that area. And the other thing that we see about in developing the distributed renewable resources itself, that we see about the problem in the way that the area itself is very difficult to be surveyed or to be reached. So that's why back in 2018 and 2019 we had a programs, to deploy all our youngsters coordinating with some of the university come to have a survey in Papua. So they all together from Jakarta and from the other area from Makassar and from Jogja comes to the Papua and to have a survey on that one. And then luckily this survey is very successful in our perspective, because we can reach every part of the places, and then we can have a tag to the place and then put it in our system, and then we see that this is the area that we can do, and then we have already concluded also what things that we can supply to them. This is nothing that I can tell. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Bob. Leading on the same battery question, there is also concerns raised by the audience with respect to who will operate and maintain, and how the disposal of the battery waste would be carried out. Maybe I leave it to you, Pak Chris, to answer that.
Yeah. For this one, as Pak Chris already mentioned, there are two things that we can do. Is that we develop the local one, as the local partner or the local one, and then we appointed as our outsourcers to do some of the maintenance and operation. It may be one or two, but it incurs so much money for that one, because we must put one for something, but we don't really that if we don't that. And the second thing, so we can cooperate with the local people there, and then these local people function as a kind of the arranger or something like that, and then they have the capability. We train them and to operate that one, and how we put them in working, and then we give them some of the works like collecting, and then we put some percentage of the collections of the bill, and then we do or something like that, and we pay for them on a regular basis, on the project basis, or in some of the action basis, not rather that we pay it's a regular salary for them. There are two things that we can do, and the other things it might be we leave it in some area that we cannot find at this one, and then we leave that one. We have a control system there, and then once a while in the islands, some of the people is some of our guys from our unit, our service unit, come to that area, and not only merely to maintain that one, but also to discuss with the customers, and also to collect the bill from them. So this is the we do it once in a one time. Thank you very much. This is one I can tell nothing. But Chris, if you have any other.
I know it's not easy. It's very challenging. So of course, as you scale it up, the problem becomes bigger, and you need to have a strategy to handle it. But Chris, you would like to add something? You're muted, Pak Chris. Pak Chris, you're muted.
Sorry, I just echo what the Pak Bob Sari say. It depends. Who is the collect the battery waste later on? Actually, the battery that we are using is lithium, so the lifetime is around 20 years. And then we also need to know who is run this kind of the business, either the PLN or the what you call the private or the rural enterprises. So within this the time period of the battery lifetime, we can trying to assess the people who try to what you call conduct this kind of the business, how to maintaining the operation of the battery, repairing, and as well as the waste disposal of the battery itself. That's the one that I can add from the explanation of the Bob.
Thank you, Chris. I have a question to Martin. Martin, we know Nokia from telecommunication or communication. So how is it in energy? And also there was an interesting question on this Aquarius engine set that you mentioned. Do you know what the fuel consumption, some data about it?
Yes, the first one is regarding Nokia. We have a long history for 15 years where we run tailor protection over our lines, including IP and PLS. So this one is really our long history, our core business. The fuel consumption is 263 grams per kilowatt hour. So it is a relatively low cost. That was the basis of the assumptions of the price of under 50 cents. But it's meant to complement solar and battery. It's not meant to replace solar and battery. That's what I wanted to highlight. So, Chris and Bob.
Thank you, Martin. Yeah.
Give me a moment. I have some technical issues. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
So there was one more question with respect to, you talked about SCADA, and also Bob talked about monitoring and all those stuff. How secure are the systems, considering these are not full-blown SCADA, these are micro or mini SCADA systems? How secure are the systems?
Are you addressing the question to me, Nashing?
Both to you, Bob, and also to Martin, considering he's also a service provider.
Martin, please, Martin.
Yes, obviously Nokia is handling the IP MPLS, so we know a lot about encryption, end-to-end security, as well as what is very critical with distributed generation to manage the integrity of the system, because hackers could hack into the distributed core. If you have a Linux core in the distributed generation, like a charging station, and this is where our impact platform managing 1.5 billion devices is helpful. But over to you, Bob, from your view.
Yeah, thank you. There are two things that concerning to regarding to the security. The first is the physical, and also for the non-physical ones or the application ones. Through the application one, we can put the encryption, as already Martin mentioned just now, end to end, and then make the power wall. But itself, in the terms of the physical itself, we protect that from the people that can access directly to the system that we have we put together, and then maybe in the site or in our centers in our office. So there are two things that we have. This one, we limited the people to access to the system itself by entering or doing so to that one, and also we put some the application and end to end and with firewall and so on to our systems itself. So this is the way of the usual thing that we use in the SCADA system. Anyway, this is a very small and thing, and then a very scattered area. Not many people are interested on this one because there is no, there is no commerciality in this case. There is no point of that they want to hack this one. What for? Because the numbers of the customer that is only 100, and then the capitalization is very small. That but anyway, we still use the standard of the security of the SCADA itself. Thank you very much, Nashing.
That's an interesting point, Bob. We have one more polling. Can we run the polling before we move to the closing session? So while the polling is being run, Ibu Maya, the next question would be to you with respect to various implementation models that you talked about with respect to your project that you have. Is it head-to-head or complementary with PLN business? And how do you see this can? And maybe since we have only 3-4 minutes left, and I would request if you can keep it short.
It is seen, is it as a head-to-head with PLN business? Well, I would say that it is a big no. Why? Because it should be seen as actually filling the gap, and filling the gap while there is no provision of energy access by PLN or by other actors in that particular place. Yeah.
Thank you, Ibu Maya. So, I mean, we are nearing to the end of the session. So, I know there are still a lot of questions from the audience. And unfortunately, with the short time, we can't address all of them. I would just like to maybe take the opportunity to make some closing remarks here. I find the battery pack solution very innovative. Of course, as this is being scaled up, this needs to be seen in terms of other issues in terms of sustainability, or how do you handle the waste and everything else. Martin, your diesel generator solution has elicited a lot of questions, so obviously I'm sure the audience will reach out to you. But packaging some of these innovative solutions could help reach those the challenges of getting it to the 100% electrification target of PLN. Now, having said that, maybe if I have to just put a question to the panelists, anything that you all think can be, I mean, just maybe if you can phrase it in 1 word or 2 words, what could be done differently to reach the 100% electrification in a much shorter time? If you had a magic wand, what would you do, Pakbo?
I would say that we had a lot of money doing so, so we can improve much more, whether using the research or something that to find out the best way. I think there are many possibilities in the future for that one, and then the new technology will appear. I believe so.
So hope Pakbo, PLN finds enough funds and the industry is able to bring good technology to supplement you all in achieving it faster. With that, I would like to thank our speakers and audience and PLN for hosting the series. As you all know, this is episode number 6. Episode 7, which will be the next one and the final one of the series, will take place on the 7th of October. Registration is open at the Enlit Asia website. And with that, I wish the panelists a big thank you for giving us a great overview of what you all are doing. And to our audience, have a great day and look forward to you all.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you,
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for everything.
Thank
you, Pak Chris and Pak Nasing, Pak Martin.
Terima kasih saya juga. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih Pak Bo, Pak Chris, Nasing.
Terima kasih, Bu.
Terima kasih.
Bye-bye.